Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time to uncover the hidden treasures of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of a most intriguing tale, one that has captivated the imagination of historians and scholars for centuries: the Gunpowder Plot and its legacy. As we delve into this fascinating narrative, let us begin by setting the stage for the events that would unfold on that fateful November 5th, 1605. In the early 17th century, England was a nation in turmoil. The death of Queen Elizabeth II in 1603 had brought an end to the Tudor dynasty, and the ascension of James I, the first Stuart king, had sparked a sense of unease among the Catholic population. The English Reformation, which had begun decades earlier with the reign of Henry VIII, had created a deep-seated divide between Protestants and Catholics, with each side harboring suspicions and resentments towards the other. As we transport ourselves to the bustling streets of London in 1604, we find a city alive with intrigue and conspiracy. The air is thick with tension, and the smell of smoke from chimney pots and candles fills the air. We walk along the cobblestone streets, passing by the imposing structures of the Tower of London and the Houses of Parliament, where the fate of the nation would soon be decided. On a chilly autumn evening in 1604, a group of disgruntled Catholics, led by Robert Catesby, gathered at the Duck and Drake Inn, a modest tavern nestled in the heart of the city. Catesby, a charismatic and well-educated man from a prominent Catholic family, had grown increasingly disillusioned with the English government's treatment of Catholics. He was joined by his co-conspirators, including Thomas Wintour, John Wright, and Guy Fawkes, each with their own unique skills and motivations. As they sipped their ale and spoke in hushed tones, Catesby outlined his plan to overthrow the government and restore Catholicism to England. The group drew inspiration from earlier Catholic rebellions, such as the Rising of the North in 1569, and began to contemplate more drastic measures, including the use of violence and sabotage. With the seeds of rebellion sown, we now find ourselves on the cusp of a new era in our narrative, one that will take us deeper into the heart of the Gunpowder Plot and its legacy. As we leave behind the precursors and origins of this tale, we begin to approach the pivotal moment when the plot itself began to unfold. In the autumn of 1604, Catesby and his co-conspirators started to make concrete plans for their rebellion. They scouted out potential targets, including the Houses of Parliament, where they hoped to catch the king and his government off guard. They also began to stockpile gunpowder and other explosives, which they intended to use to devastating effect. As we pause at this critical juncture, the stage is set for a dramatic confrontation between the Catholic conspirators and the English state. The fate of James I, his government, and the entire Protestant establishment hangs in the balance. Join me next as we enter the very epicenter of the Gunpowder Plot, where the conspirators' plans reach their climax, and the course of English history is forever altered. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the thrilling tale of the Gunpowder Plot and its legacy. It's November 4th, 1605, and the city of London is bathed in an eerie darkness. The moon is new, casting a shadow over the bustling streets, and the air is crisp with anticipation. Robert Catesby, Thomas Wintour, John Wright, and Guy Fawkes, along with their co-conspirators, have put their plan into action. They have stockpiled 36 barrels of gunpowder in a rented cellar beneath the House of Lords, directly beneath the spot where King James I will sit during the opening of Parliament the following day. As we walk through the narrow streets of London, we can almost hear the sound of whispers and furtive conversations. The conspirators move with caution, aware that they are taking a monumental risk. Guy Fawkes, disguised as a servant, stands guard over the gunpowder, waiting for the signal to ignite the fuse. The tension is palpable, and the sense of foreboding hangs heavy in the air. Meanwhile, in the grand halls of Whitehall Palace, King James I prepares for the opening of Parliament, oblivious to the danger lurking beneath his feet. The monarch is surrounded by his advisors and courtiers, who are eager to discuss the pressing matters of state. As we approach the climax of this tale, let us pause for a moment to appreciate the sheer audacity of the conspirators' plan. As one historian so aptly put it, the plot was a desperate attempt to overthrow a government that had become increasingly hostile to Catholicism and to restore the old faith to its former glory. The stakes are high, and the consequences of failure will be dire. As the clock strikes midnight on November 4th, 1605, Guy Fawkes prepares to ignite the fuse. The moment of truth has arrived, and the course of English history is about to be forever altered. The plot is discovered, and Fawkes is caught guarding the gunpowder. The conspirators are rounded up, and their leaders are put on trial for treason. As we reflect on this pivotal moment, we begin to see the far-reaching consequences of the gunpowder plot. The failed assassination attempt will lead to a crackdown on Catholicism in England, and the persecution of Catholics will intensify. The plot will also have a profound impact on English politics, leading to a heightened sense of paranoia and mistrust among the ruling elite. We have witnessed the climax of the conspirators' plan, and the beginning of a new era in English history. Join me next as we explore the decline and aftermath of this pivotal event, and examine the lasting legacy of the gunpowder plot on English society and politics. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the thrilling tale of the gunpowder plot and its legacy. The failure of the plot marked a significant turning point in the history of Catholicism in England. The government, already wary of Catholic dissent, became even more vigilant in its pursuit of those deemed disloyal to the crown. The persecution of Catholics intensified, with many being arrested, imprisoned, and even executed for their supposed involvement in the plot. The Jesuits, in particular, were targeted, as they were seen as the primary instigators of the conspiracy. As the years passed, the memory of the gunpowder plot continued to shape English politics and society. The event was commemorated annually on November 5th, with bonfires and fireworks being lit to celebrate the failed assassination attempt. This tradition, known as Guy Fawkes Night, became an integral part of English folklore, serving as a reminder of the dangers of Catholicism and the importance of loyalty to the crown. The plot also had a profound impact on the development of English law and politics. The Treason Act of 1606, passed in response to the plot, expanded the definition of treason to include any attempt to harm the monarch or the government. This legislation would have far-reaching consequences, as it paved the way for future crackdowns on dissent and opposition. Furthermore, the gunpowder plot contributed to the growing tensions between England and Spain, which had been simmering for decades. The Spanish, who had long been suspected of supporting Catholic rebellions in England, were now seen as even more menacing. This perceived threat would eventually contribute to the outbreak of the Anglo-Spanish War in 1625. As we reflect on the decline and aftermath of the gunpowder plot, it becomes clear that this event was a watershed moment in English history. The failed assassination attempt marked the beginning of a new era of sectarian tensions, political repression, and international conflict. The legacy of the plot can still be seen today, with Guy Fawkes Night remaining a popular tradition, and the struggles between Catholicism and Protestantism continuing to shape English identity. In conclusion, dear listeners, our journey through the gunpowder plot and its legacy has taken us on a thrilling ride through one of the most pivotal moments in English history. From the conspirators' daring plan to the far-reaching consequences of their failure, we have seen how this event shaped the course of English politics, society, and culture. Join me next time as we explore more fascinating stories from the annals of history. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.